Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online VGC 20 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Tomorrow the DLC comes out, and obviously with that we'll be getting a lot of new Pokemon, and VGC is going to look drastically different once Series 7 rolls around. So I'm obviously super excited to dive into Series 7 and to dive into the DLC and give you guys obviously competitive battles as well as some guides on some of the newer strategies and Pokemon that you can expect to see. So we're going to get right into it. Obviously, we are wrapping up Series 6. Things are going to look very different in just a couple of days, but we'll have a fun send-off for Series 6. So thanks as always for watching Road to Ranked. If you want to try out this team, it's a rental team built by the 2017 World Champion Ryota Otsuba. And question of the day, I want to know what kind of content you want to see from us as we get into the DLC and as we get into Series 7. Let me know in the comments below. First, opponent of the day. We had some really rough matchups yesterday. A lot of Hatterenes, a lot of Ferrothorns, and those are probably two of like the rougher Pokemon to go up against. So I'm hoping Espeon can put in some more magic in this episode. Now this is a Comfey team. Comfey is pretty tricky, I would say, like because Comfey Lapras and Comfey Goodra are both not super fun to play against. Mainly because Espeon can't one-shot them. I do have the AV here on the Raichu, but I can't fake out Comfey. I mean, I can, but it's just going to be able to use its healing moves beforehand, so it can proc the policy before I do anything. I've got Talonflame, I've got Amoonguss in the back. I think Comfey Lapras or Comfey Goodra is honestly decently likely. So, one, I kind of feel like I need to take care of the Comfey first. So maybe we actually lead Urshifu here, and just try to knock out Comfey immediately. Urshifu Amoonguss is interesting here with Raichu and the Espeon in the back. I guess Lycanroc could be kind of cool here too. You know what? I actually kind of like Lycanroc. Let's try that out. The reason why I like Lycanroc here, and I just realized one thing I maybe should have done was bring in the Talonflame instead. Because I think Steel types are a pretty rough matchup for this team. Obviously, we went up against Ferrothorn yesterday. I think Corviknight actually, without having a way to hit it for super effective damage, is going to be a problem, especially if that Dynamaxes. I don't anticipate that maxing, given the Comfey and the Lapras and the Goodra, but we'll see. Either way, let's get into today's episode. As always, if you enjoy, please show your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks as always for supporting the channel. I mean, it's nuts because Sword and Shield has almost been out for about a year or so. And obviously the last year has been super exciting. I've been making a lot of content. I've been having a lot of fun with it as well. So appreciate everyone that's really stuck along in the last year. And it's exciting because with the DLC coming out, yeah, I'm just super pumped to play it. Okay, so it's Comfey Goodra. Part of me actually wants to just go for like close combat and I don't think we'll knock out the Goodra here. So I think we should try to KO Comfey turn 1. And that's like, if we knock that out, that's fine. You knock out either the Lycanroc or you bring me down to my Sash. And either is acceptable in this scenario, I think. So I'm just going to go for the Surging Strikes here and the Rock Slide. Yeah. Because the thing is, if I don't knock out Goodra with a double up, and I don't anticipate that I will, then the problem is that the Comfey can just heal all of the damage that it takes the subsequent turn. That's the thing in dealing with Comfey. You kind of have to knock out the Comfey first. If you're not knocking out the Comfey first, you have to be very confident in your ability to do a ton of damage into Comfey's partner. So typically in this scenario, expect to see something like a you could Giga Drain to activate Goodra's ability, or you could just straight and Kiss to activate a weakness policy. Now obviously with Goodra and Lapras on the team, only one of the two Pokemon can carry the policy, so it is going to be the Giga Drain to activate the Sap Sipper. Makes sense here. Okay. So it's going to be physical Goodra. I mean, that's fine with me, honestly. We'll see if Comfey has a berry here, because if not, it should go down. And trading Comfey for... I think it's going to survive with just a little bit of HP. Yeah, that looks like it. Ah, that's unfortunate. Okay. Maybe I should have doubled up onto that slot then. What could I even double up with, though? Okay, it's going to be Overgrowth into the Lycanroc. Okay. I mean, that's okay. Also, I just realized for Corviknight, at least we have Raichu, so it's not the end of the world. If I knocked out the Comfey there, I'd be very happy about that turn. But because we don't knock out Comfey, I'm not super happy. That being said, I still think that was our best play there. I mean, I can go into Raichu now. Or Espeon. If I go Espeon, I could max guard. He's going to get to +2, which is the problem. It's a pretty big problem, actually. I think our best play here is actually to go into Raichu, nuzzle into Goodra, and knock out the Comfey with the Surging Strikes. And then the subsequent turn I can double protect. So I'm just going to Surging Strikes here and go for the Nuzzle. The reason I'm going for Nuzzle is just because there's no better play. I don't want to bring out Espeon when my opponent still has 2 turns of Dynamax with the Goodra. Because even if I Max Guard, the subsequent turn you can just go for a +2 Max War and wait into Espeon. Espeon is super, super frail. I don't have a better attack to go for here. There's not much point in going for Fake Out onto Comfey because Comfey has priority with its Giga Drain at +3, and Fake Out isn't as high priority, right? So you can just Giga Drain the Goodra anyway. It'd be a waste of a Fake Out. So with Nuzzle, at least there's that 25% chance I get the paralysis on Goodra. If Goodra gets full paired here, that would be so, so huge for us. But even if it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. And it just means that for the remainder of the game, Goodra has to play around these full paras. So yeah, Comfey's going to go for the second Giga Drain, which makes sense. I think that's the best play in this scenario. I guess I could have flipped it and gone for like Close Combat onto the Goodra just for higher damage output, but I think it's okay. So let's see. Now my opponent has to roll through kind of the paralysis every turn. We'll knock out Comfey here finally, but it is unfortunate we didn't get the KO on turn 1. But I mean, we don't really have a stronger attack on the Lycanroc, so I'm not really sure what else we could have done. Maybe I could have brought in Talonflame. We do get the full paralysis on Goodra, so that's very fortunate. I mean, that's why I said it was my best play, right? I just don't think there's any other better option other than, I suppose, Volt Tackle into Comfey and Close Combat into Goodra. But I don't really think I need damage onto Goodra until its Dynamax is over. So now my opponent only has 1 more turn of Dynamax, which is good. The downside, though, is that I might not be able to activate the Espeon's policy. Ooh, Corviknight switches in. Okay. If Corviknight switches in, I actually think we aggressively double up onto it this turn with the Surging Strikes and just the Volt Tackle, which we haven't revealed yet. Because we want the knockout onto that ASAP. And Corviknights normally don't carry Protect. So it's a pretty safe double up here, I think. And basically, we're positioning ourselves for a late-game Espeon sweep. But obviously, that could have been a really, really big full para, especially if the Goodra was targeting the Raichu, which you'd imagine it was. So I feel like I need to play around these Steel-type Pokemon better and create like better win cons against them. Because, you know, yesterday I was struggling against Ferrothorn a fair amount, and today it's been the Corviknight. Talonflame is one adjustment we could make maybe over the Lycanroc, but then we kind of have to conserve the Talonflame and the Raichu for the late game. I guess I could have let Talonflame in this one as well, but I don't think that actually accomplishes anything because you have higher priority anyway from the Comfey. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is why you use Volt Tackle Raichu. It does so much damage. No Berry as well, so perfect. We knocked out the biggest threat to our team. What I think is the biggest threat, at least. Because now, Dynamax ends from my opponent's end, and I will definitely have the Urshifu for 1 more turn. If you knock out the Raichu, I get a free switch in Espeon. I actually want my opponent to knock out the Raichu here. They're going to go for Overgrowth, which makes me think it's an Urshifu target. Yeah, which makes sense. Okay, so we haven't Dynamaxed yet. Obviously, we have the Espeon in the back, but my opponent is at +2 attack with the Goodra, so that still makes me pretty scared, right? Because, like, you still might be able to just one-shot the Espeon in the back. And my Raichu's not doing much damage in this position. That's also the reason why I couldn't just switch in Espeon and go for a Brutal Swing at any point, because if Goodra targets the Urshifu slot, which it's likely to do, the Espeon will just faint, so that's not great. Arcanine's the last one. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Arcanine is the last one. I mean, I really want to just double up onto Arcanine here. If it has extreme speed, I think we actually probably just lose this. But I want to just Surging Strikes and Volt Tackle it. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for that. If it has Z-Speed, then so be it. There's not much of a way around that. But because we know Arcanine can't protect in front of an Urshifu, I feel like this is a pretty decent play. If we can knock out the Arcanine, then it will be a 2v1 effectively against the Goodra. But still scary because Goodra got multiple boosts, right? Like, Comfey was honestly, I think, one of the sleeper picks in Series 6. And, you know, I did that analysis video before Series 6 started, and I think Comfey was like the one big omission. Actually, poor Gunzi also wasn't on that. So those were 2 big Pokemon that ended up having a huge impact throughout the course of this format. No extreme speed from the Arcanine, though, so we should be able to just cleanly knock it out here. Even if it has a Berry, it should be fine with 2 more crits. That's why we wanted to Volt Tackle to get that initial damage off. Let's see. Yep, it's Citrus, so I'm pretty sure 2 more should KO it. Yeah, single one. Actually, needed the last one. But I think that should seal up the game at this point because it means I either get Brutal Swing Max Starfall into the Goodra or Close Combat Max Starfall, both which I would think would knock out. Unless Goodra has a spread attack here, which I guess it could have in Muddy Water, but we get another Paralysis here, so yeah. I do think I could have played this match better, because I do think that the paras were really influential. I think this one didn't actually matter at this point, because I had Espeon in the back. Even if you have Muddy Water, actually, you're not KOing the Raichu, and as long as we have one of the 2 Pokemon around, we win the game. But definitely have to acknowledge the full para earlier on the second turn of Dynamax. That was a big deal. So I'm just going to Volt Tackle CC here and just wait for the free switch into Espeon. Yeah, I mean, Goodra's set of attacks aren't exactly super accurate. And that's why I went for the Nuzzle earlier. So I do think that if my opponent doesn't get full paired at any point, they have a much stronger chance of winning the game, and I think they actually probably have the advantage. But especially because if the Raichu goes down, we can't knock out the Corviknight very easily. So that was the main problem, which is why I do think the first para mattered a lot, unless they weren't targeting Raichu in that position. If they weren't targeting Raichu, ooh, they did have EQ. Yeah, so actually then the para last turn also was a big deal because they had EQ. Because it meant they would have picked up a double knockout. And then I guess the question is whether Espeon could take a +2 attack from the Goodra. So we definitely got lucky with the paras in this game. I think my opponent brought the right 4 Pokemon, and they played it really well too. I'm just thinking what I should have done better then. The tricky thing about these matchups is you never know whether the Goodra is physical or special. Now we can Dynamax and Starfall. Yeah, the question then would have been, can Goodra one-shot the Espeon at +2? Because if it can't, then we can just Starfall it twice for a KO. And I think that would be enough, even despite how bulky Goodra is. I would think a Dragon-type attack maybe a +2 does enough to Espeon. I don't know. We saw Power Whip. Obviously, it's Power Whip. It has EQ. You would think a Dragon-type attack and then a 4th. So I think both paras here really ended up being huge for us. And that's the tricky thing. In terms of Pokemon that I brought in this game, could I have done anything better? I guess Talonflame over Lycanroc. That being said, I mean, if we get the knockout onto the Comfey turn 1, I actually think it's a pretty favorable trade. But perhaps we should have just brought Talonflame Urshifu and doubled up, because the Talonflame's Brave Bird into a Surging Strikes definitely would have done enough. So I think if I were to play my opponent again in a best of 3, the adjustment I would bring is not bring Lycanroc, because it doesn't get that KO on turn 1, and effectively that Rock Slide damage onto Goodra is kind of negligible as well. So we end up winning this one, but I do think that RNG was actually a pretty big component to it, and in games like this, you have to look at, like, I think we probably needed both paras to win, actually. Not the second one, depending on if Espeon could take a +2 attack from Goodra. I would think so, but I don't know. Espeon's pretty frail. It's not very defensive either. We also don't know what the Goodra was going for. Oh, it had Breaking Swipe. Okay, so then Goodra actually didn't have a way to one-shot the Espeon, I think, so I don't think the second para actually really mattered, but the first one, if it was targeting Raichu, was a really big deal. Kobo, Amoonguss. Ooh, it actually did have Protect. You don't see that too often on Comfey with Floral Healing, obviously. Citrus. This one had Protect, so I wonder if Surging Strikes KOs without the Volt Tackle damage. Obviously, it crits through, but still. Lum, yeah, this one didn't have Protect. And then, yeah, Goodra was the last one, which we saw was Max Attack. So, I think this is an example of a game where RNG definitely has some factor. And it may have been possible to win without it. It's not like, oh, that was like, we 100% needed it because the game was still pretty early when it happened. But if my opponent makes the best play, then we're in a really, really bad position if we don't get it there. Which is why I think it's good to look at games like this and still evaluate what could I have done better. And I do think that it comes from team preview from the start, because I don't think Raichu Espeon is the way to go, because, well, I guess if we know it's not policy Goodra, then Goodra doesn't one-shot us. So I guess we could, like, Brutal Swing, knock out Comfey. I still don't feel great about that. Yeah, so I think Talon over Lycanroc would have been the adjustment I'd make if I were to play my opponent again. This next team is really interesting. There's another Hatterene, but not really a Trick Room team otherwise. I mean, Espeon does a ton of damage here across the board. There's obviously the Comfey plus the Dracozolt combination, which is interesting. I kind of like just leading Espeon Raichu here, I think. In the back... Oh man, Lycanroc as a lead here is actually somewhat tempting. Mainly because it could be Scarf Darmanitan on the opposing side. Like, we could bring all 6 Pokemon into this matchup, honestly. I keep wanting to bring Amoonguss into potential Trick Room matchups, but then it's like there's always a what do I want to say? A Hatterene on the opposing side. I don't feel great about that. I don't really need Tailwind here, but we do decent damage with Talonflame. I mean, I think I want to bring Urshifu into one of Talonflame or Lycanroc. You know what? I'm still going to bring the Lycanroc. I think it's just a really interesting Pokemon. I still want to explore what it can do. And, you know, we pointed out, and someone pointed out in the comments in the first episode as well, how the Scarf Lycanroc's main goal is actually to use Accelerock against opposing Talonflames to just one-shot them, so then you have the speed priority, which is actually a really cool tech against Talonflame. Like, I think it's very hard to answer Talonflame in this format, other than, you know, Fake Out or Max Move into it turn 1, or have something that's faster. There aren't that many things that are faster. Okay, it's gonna be Darmanitan and Comfey. Oof. Now I really wish I led Lycanroc. That would have been nice. Huh. The thing here is that it's probably gonna be Scarf Darm. And then the question is, do you Trick Room as well? That's a possibility. It really is. This is rough. This is rough. What do I want to do? Max turn 1? I'm just going for the Mindstorm. Nah, this is not a good play. This is definitely not a good play. I went for the Brutal Swing Max Mindstorm, but I think the thing is that Darm is going to be Scarfed here all the time. So, I don't think it makes sense to Max because it's... I wonder if you actually just KO the Espeon here with Icicle Crash. This would have been a reason to lead Scarf Lycanroc if I'm expecting the Darmanitan lead. Unfortunately, that was like the one thing I was hoping not to see. I didn't really think my opponent would lead it, because like Raichu Espeon would have crushed any other lead my opponent had. Yeah, they just Icicle Crash. Okay, wait, this actually might work out then, because I don't think we KO ourselves through Brutal Swing, and then maybe we knock out the Comfey. But the problem is that I just set up Terrain. However, I really thought I had to deny Trick Room here on turn 1, which is why I went for this play. If this doesn't KO, though, we're screwed, I think. But we at least get the knockout there. Okay. That makes turn 2 really interesting, because obviously I could Max Guard Nuzzle into Darm. So I guess that ended up working out alright. That could have been really bad if my opponent just Icicle Crashed into the Raichu for a KO. But we still take a ton of damage, right? So it's not like we're in a fantastic spot. But it's not awful. It's actually really not that bad. It's better than I expected it to go. That's for sure. But yeah, it was Scarfed Arm. So Lycanroc would have been a pretty sick lead here. That being said, I think we have a really safe play of Max Guard Nuzzle next turn, because if you target the Espeon slot, well then I just paralyze the Darmanitan, I guarantee outspeed you next turn. If you target the Raichu slot, then I get the free switch in into the Scarf Lycanroc, and I just click Rock Slide. Hatterene comes out. Ah, this is so awkward, because like, do they max? Do they Trick Room? Trick Room actually makes the most sense from their end here. Oh, they've actually kind of pinned me then if they go for Trick Room here. Like, I think my opponent's best play is actually to Icicle Crash into Espeon and Trick Room. So I think at this point, I actually kind of have to hope for them to mess up. Them having 2 Trick Room threats was the real problem in this. I'm gonna Nuzzle and hope that they get greedy and attack with the Hatterene. Like, if they max it, that's ideal here. Best case is they max and go for G-Max Psychic. Or just, sorry, just regular Psychic. They max. Okay, that's huge. Because I think my opponent would have pinned me because Hatterene sweeps this team super, super, super hard. So I think if you just Icicle Crash into the Espeon and Trick Room, I don't have any way around that play. So now the question is whether they G-Max Smite or not. But this is honestly much better than how I thought this matchup would go, given that they had the Hatterene and the Comfey. Okay. Actually, best case would have been them knocking out the Raichu, so then you don't even get the max move off. But I'll get Nuzzle off, which means Espeon outspeeds both now next turn, and no Trick Room goes up, which is the main thing. That's super important here. They go for Smite, so now we have to play through Confusion, and that's the scary thing here, because I don't think that one-shots. Yeah. Oh, this actually really may just come down to whether or not Espeon attacks through the Confusion this turn. But we got pretty lucky last game, so honestly, I'm not, like, it's going to be understandable if we fall to a Confusion here. I do think the play is still to Phantasm here. Oh, you know, we could Phantasm into the Darm, and the reason is so that we get a guaranteed defense drop. But I don't think you Max Guard here. I'm going to just Phantasm and Volt Tackle. I wonder if Volt Tackle actually just one-shots Darmanitan from this range. They might Max Guard. But if they Max Guard, I mean, you only have one more Max turn left, and I've got to Sash Urshifu in the back. I'm just sad. They did go for the right play of smiting there. If they went for just Psychic to knock out the Raichu, then I get a free switch in, and then it's just over, I think. Yeah, so they don't protect. Okay, Raichu hits itself in confusion. Honestly, that's not the one that mattered. If Espeon gets this Phantasm off, then I'm fine. If not, I think we actually probably lose. So does Espeon attack through? It does not. Okay, that will probably seal up the game. I just can't believe how many G-Max hats we've gone up against in the last couple of days. But like I said, can't complain. We got pretty lucky with the Paras in the first game, so it is what it is. Still actually winnable as well. No, I don't think so anymore, actually, because we needed some damage onto the Hatterene. If Hatterene's max ended this turn, then we had a chance, but not getting a single attack off there is rough. And that's why Hatterene's so good. Like, you see a lot of people use it even outside of Trick Room, and, you know, it's because G-Max Smite is just super, super strong. Yeah, but we can't flinch here, which is a problem. So obviously I can Rock Slide and Surging Strikes. I think my one way to hope to win here is for my opponent to not target the Lycanroc for some reason. Like, if they go for Smite onto the Urshifu, and then we attack through all the Paras, Confusions in the late game. Maybe we can pull it off. I do think, actually, if we get the Phantasm off, we most likely win this game. I guess we would still need to hit our attacks, but then I have the defense drop on both, and then so Rock Slide Surging Strikes would just pick up a double KO, and it's super free. But we didn't have a great lead here, and that's the problem. So I had to ask myself, how do I put myself in a position where I don't get G-Max Smited immediately? I do think Nuzzle Max Guard was the correct play in that turn. There wasn't really much. I guess I could have gone for Volt Tackle for the chip damage. Oh, that doesn't even KO the Darm. Yikes. Okay, that's why I needed that defense drop earlier. Let's see if we can get a Paraflinch on it. Yeah, now we need a Paraflinch on that as well, unfortunately. I do think these were the 4 right Pokemon to bring, though. And the odds were more in our favor to win this one. Okay, we get the Paralysis on the Darm, so let's see if they target the Urshifu. You're going to Smite. Okay, they do target Lycanroc. Yeah, that's the correct target, and that's one-shots us, unfortunately. I'm not going to say it's over, though, because theoretically we could still win if Darmanitan hits, or sorry, gets paralyzed or misses its attack. I'll knock out the Hatterene here, but good target selection by my opponent. They went for the right play with Hatterene on all 3 turns. That being said, it was actually still winnable, because I think if they actually just clicked Trick Room, it would have been doomed. Based off what I led, was there anything I could have done? Fake out Comfey? Maybe knock out Darmanitan turn 1, but Comfey is most likely Trick Rooming in that position. Yeah, so I'm going to Strikes into Hatterene. We need to hope for a para or miss. Attack through. Like, the odds of us winning are very slim now, but it's still possible, so I'm not going to give up. Okay, then we'll go for a Protector Switch Out. Makes sense. We actually do manage to attack through this time, but we needed the Espeon. That was the main one. +2 Phantasm would have been so huge. The bright side is that Ice Cold Crash probably won't do very much into us, so it's still possible. Let's see what my opponent's last one is. Okay. Do they get the Ice Cold Crash off? They miss! Alright, what's the last one? This just got a lot more interesting. Is it Dracozolt? That would be really odd. I don't think that's all. What is that? Sirfetch'd. Sirfetch'd. I know you're not Scarfed. You're probably just gonna Leaf Blade me. Ugh. The thing is, I think I need multiple attacks to win this one, right? Like, there's no way CC one-shots here. So maybe we just Surging Strikes into the Sirfetch'd. I mean, if that actually KOs, we would win. Well, actually, we'd still need to attack through the Confusions, I guess. But I think Sirfetch'd has to be the target here. Okay, and we stab at a Confusion. I'm not saying there's a chance, but maybe there's a chance. Even if this doesn't KO, if the actually Darman, oh, it's not gonna be a KO. Yeah, close. I mean, it's 75%ish, but not enough. Unless for some reason Sirfetch'd like misses an attack here too. Obviously, I could have gone for the KO onto the Darmanitan there, but I didn't think it made any sense to go for the KO onto it because Icicle Crash isn't what's important right now. It's about picking up the knockout onto Sirfetch'd. Maybe, I wonder if a close combat crit would have done enough there. Wait, hold on. They get parried again. If they get parried a 3rd time / miss, I mean, that's our win con, right? Yeah, I mean, we're just going to Strikes here. Oh, they have Feint. Okay, well, that'll seal it up then. Nice. I mean, they should have won this after Espeon got full parried, but you always play to your outs, right? If Sirfetch'd doesn't have Feint and they miss another Crash or get parried, then we actually win that one. So even if it's a 1v3, you always just play to your outs there. So Urshifu tried its best to redeem us, but unfortunately was not enough in the end. So I think, given the lead, I don't think there was too much I could have done. So this was the kind of game where it needed to start in team preview. I didn't lead my best lead possible. I think that lead works against most of my opponent's lead, but unfortunately not against Comfey Darmanitan specifically, which I have to say I just wasn't expecting. But the problem in this match is that there's like 2 Trick Roomers, and once again, Hatterene under Trick Room, like I just don't see how we beat, because like Amoonguss is, like I said, normally a pretty good Trick Roomancer, but here, there's a Hatterene. Alright, well, let's get into this last match now. Well, there's Trick Room again, but I guess at least there's no Hatterene. So like this is like an example of a matchup where Amoonguss could really come out and put in some work. Alternatively, I could just go Espeon and Raichu. Lycanroc I'm tempted to bring out right now because they've got the Talonflame, though. That's what Lycanroc's kind of designed to do. This one's tricky. I like all my Pokemon here. I really do. What Dynamax is on my opponent's team? Probably Duraludon, maybe Primarina. I like leading Lycanroc. What if they lead Raichu Talonflame? What would my best lead be? Like, I also feel like I need to bring Amoonguss here. The thing is, yeah, if I bring Lycanroc, I guess I don't really need Talonflame, right? Although Talonflame does put on pressure with Flare Blitz in this matchup. I think Espeon has to be the max candidate. Or, I mean, not the candidate, just has to max here. I like leading Lycanroc. This might be our last game with this team as well, so let's go out with the bang. Lycanroc Amoonguss is actually pretty interesting here. With Espeon and I think Raichu in the back. Feels weird not bringing Urshifu into this matchup though. Surging Strikes is pretty dang good. Yeah, really close margins in a lot of the games we've been playing recently. And once again, the nature of a hyper offense team like this is that you do have to play a little bit harder to deny the Trick Room because that's just like such an unfavorable matchup. But that's just the nature of kind of these aggressive teams. Alright, Talonflame Primarina. So Lycanroc gets to use the Accelerock, which I'm super excited about. Actually, this is really good for us because I can just Spore into Amoonguss Primarina turn 1 as well. Now granted, they might just go for a Starfall turn 1, so I think it's definitely going to be Accelerock into Talonflame. Question is whether they just end up going for like a Starfall into the Lycanroc. They might. They really might. The only problem here is also if it's Sash Talonflame. I think Sash is more likely on Raichu though, so I'm not super worried about that. I don't think I honestly need Lycanroc out in the game either, to be honest. So I'm going to go for the Spore, even though I think it's likely they go for a Starfall in turn 1. Ooh, but they switch out. I wonder if they know about this team or whether it's just kind of playing safe on turn 1. Either way, nice play. Because now I think you max Primarina, and if you Starfall, this becomes a lot dicier. What looked like a really good lead actually isn't as good, nearly as good at all. So Raichu Lycanroc could have been pretty cool there. The upside is that we did commit them to... We got them to Dynamax earlier, but now they have a late game Tailwind, which I think could be a big problem for us. But if they didn't Starfall here, they're in a lot of trouble. That being said, I think you should always Starfall into Lycanroc if I'm in my opponent's shoes. Okay. Accelerock actually does more than I expected. Yeah, they go for Starfall. Unfortunate. Into Lycanroc. So, while Lycanroc is really cool, this shows, I mean, how you can counter it, right? You just switch out the Talonflame on turn 1. I didn't have a great play to counter that, though, unfortunately, either. Okay. So, I can bring out Espeon now. Which is pretty interesting. You can change the terrain as well. What does Raichu offer me here? Not much. They could also attack through my Protect. I can't help but think I have to really stall out the Dynamax here. So like the play I want to go for this turn is like Protect Espeon and Sludge Bomb Primarina. And then maybe switch out Espeon next turn. Because I can't Dynamax right now. I guess I could have brought out Raichu and just gone Volt Tackle, Sludge Bomb, and Primarina. That could have been an option as well. Nice play about my opponent on turn 1, though. Yeah, I got maybe a little too baited into bringing Lycanroc. Like, I totally could have just brought Talonflame Raichu in this one and just gone... Like, I don't think we maybe needed to get baited into Lycanroc. Let's see if they Geyser. Because if they do, one thing we could do next turn is Max Psychic into Spore. That'd be interesting. Yeah, they go for Starfall again, though, which is correct. into Espeon, yep. And that does a lot, 33 damage total. Got a Sludge Bomb off. Can't tell if that's AV, I think it is. We're gonna Starfall, Draco. I think it's gotta be a switch into Raichu here, and a Sludge Bomb into the Primarina. And then we have to play the Espeon 2v4 most likely. Unless, ooh. I think the better play this turn would have actually been a Rage Powder just to redirect the Starfall away. Yeah, that would have been better. Because then Raichu survives. Yeah, so we're gonna Draco here into Raichu. It should be a double up into that slot every time, so should have Rage Powdered. Oh, wow. Wait. That took that really well. Oh, that's because Misty Terrain is up, right? It's Life Orb Duraludon, okay. Ooh, and they Geyser, okay. They Geyser. Does that KO? It does. I wouldn't be surprised if that was like Hydro Cannon Geyser. The interesting thing here is that I could change the terrain now and start sporing things, but I think we're maybe a little bit too far behind at this point. That's why Rage Powdered this last turn would have been a lot better, I think. Because if I Rage Powder, I also get to just Raichu Volt Tackle the subsequent turn. Now I'm really far behind in the match. But it's not doomed yet. I think this is still definitely winnable. Especially because I can set up the terrain, which prevents the... I think I have to detect Sludge Bomb this turn, though. It's a pretty obvious play. I can see Duraludon switching out, actually. Is there any way I win this? If Primarina has Hyper Voice... Like, it's just that Espeon's going to get knocked out even if I max it, I think. Duraludon stays in, which is what I want to see. So that's a start. They go for Thunder. Interesting. Okay. And Hyper Voice, yeah. Yeah, so this is still winnable then, I think. I think this is doable. Because now, this next turn, I can max Psychic into the Primarina. I hope that's a KO. Jeez, I don't even know if that's a KO, to be honest, but I guess we'll see. Max Psychic, which changes terrain. Your Thunder doesn't really do very much at -2. And I can also put the Duraludon to sleep. There's no point in going for Rage Powder here, obviously, because Duraludon's ability ignores that. But I do think it would have been better to have gone for a Rage Powder the third turn against Primarina's Dynamax. Yeah. The main thing is that if you get an advantageous lead with this team, you can snowball very, very quickly. And I actually felt like we had a decent lead here, but it didn't end up working out too well for us. But I don't know. I think like Lycanroc, if I were to adjust the lead, maybe Lycanroc Talonflame instead. That might be better. Because then at least I get my own Tailwind up, and I can just Rock Slide instead. Or even Raichu. Maybe Raichu Lycanroc is the best lead there. Okay, so let's see if Max Mindstorm one-shots. It's probably, I think it's AV Prim. Okay, at least it KOs there. So that's good. We get rid of we get rid of the terrain, which means now I can Spore the Duraludon. So now it's effectively a 2v1 for the next couple of turns, which is actually a really big deal. And the Talonflame also can't Brave Bird here. Okay, they go for Draco, but we take that decently. So it's at -4. It's at -4. Honestly, I'd rather see Draco there because if they Thunder, they might have gotten a Paralysis, and that'd be really bad. This would be a pretty sick comeback, honestly. And yeah, that's the thing with Lycanroc. Like, I got baited because I really wanted to showcase how it works against Talonflame. Okay, so Talonflame comes back out. The thing is here, I actually think our best play is just to max Mindstorm Talonflame and Protect. Because the rain is up, you might taunt into the Amoonguss, or, I mean, you can't even Brave Bird in this position, and a Flare Blitz into Espeon doesn't really hurt us here. So I'm protecting to bypass a potential taunt, because I really want to Spore whatever the last Pokemon is. Oh, they went for Brave Bird, though. I think they forgot about Terrain. Okay, well, that's frustrating. We could have gotten an extra attack off, but whatever. Yeah, it wasn't sashed. Okay, that's another KO. And Duraludon's only taking one turn of sleep right now, so that's huge. That's exactly why I wanted to time it the way I did and set up terrain the way I did. So that game plan worked at least. But let's see what the last one is now. It's Urshifu. I mean, we have a really good matchup against Urshifu with this. Fighting Dark too. Dark means you can Wicked Blow though, right? I think Urshifu probably has the Sash here. If I lose Espeon, I lose the game. That's the other big thing here. I mean, I don't think it makes sense to target Duraludon. I think we have to just go for the Urshifu. I think it's definitely got to be a Starfall here. The question is... I think it has to be a Rage Powder here, too. I mean, there's no point in protecting. Yeah, it's got to be Rage Powder. Because we have Dazzle on this. Yeah. That's definitely the correct play. I would have liked to see Urshifu Detect there. That would have actually won us the game, but they didn't, unfortunately. If they're not sashed for some reason, we also just win this, but I think it's got to be sashed. Ooh! It's not sashed. Okay, wait, we haven't won yet, though, because I just set up the terrain, which means I can't Spore Duraludon anymore, but it's at -4 special attack. And Misty Terrain is up. Does it wake up? Nice, it stays asleep. Okay. The only problem is that Amoonguss does no damage into this thing. However, we got maximum output from our 3 turns of Dynamax here from the Espeon. So, good job, Espeon. Just gotta be Dazzling Gleam here, right? I literally do not have any attack to go for right now on this thing. But I don't think the Duraludon can knock us out at -4 special attack, so I actually think we should be good here, to be honest, and I think 2 Dazzle should finish it off. So, yeah. I guess there's literally no point... Oh, no, yeah, there's no point in going for anything else. So I could Rage Powder if, for some reason, you're not Stalwart on the Duraludon. Like, that's literally the only option to go for. Wish we had a Giga Drain in a position like this. Okay. Ooh, so close. Actually, I think we just win... Okay, well, they end up staying asleep anyway, so now it's guaranteed. I'll finish it off with Expanding Force, because it's cool. Actually, Shadow Ball. I don't think we've seen regular Shadow Ball yet. Yeah, I think actually because of how much Dazzling did, the Duraludon would faint from 2 Life Orb ticks anyway, so the only way you would win is by getting a double crit there, basically. But we were lucky to obviously end up getting a 3-turn sleep. I don't think it really mattered too much. I mean, Duraludon revealed Draco, Thunder. I would think a Steel-type attack and a Protect, so I don't think you have Dark Pulse, so then I think you're basically hoping to crit a Draco Meteor. The only problem is even if, like... Actually, yeah, what I was thinking is even if you end up critting the Espeon, you probably faint to Life Orb damage before the Amoonguss. I mean, the Amoonguss can't do anything, but I can just keep letting you attack the Amoonguss and then let you faint from Life Orb damage because I don't have Giga Drain or whatever. But that was a pretty fun comeback, I have to say. Obviously, my opponent played brilliantly on that first turn by switching out. Kind of got baited into Lycanroc, but you can at least see the pressure that Lycanroc put. So that turn one would have worked out a lot better if I just supported Lycanroc with something that pressured Primarina. But yeah, like, my game plan in this one was to just wait until the end game and try to sweep through with Espeon, and we were able to accomplish that. So definitely a fun game to leave things with. So thank you so much as always for watching. The DLC comes out tomorrow. Very excited to dive into all of that. Let me know what kind of Series 7 content you want to see in the comments below. Thank you as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will catch you all next time. All right, peace.